Hi, and welcome to Peacock Ridge Farm. I'm so glad that you're here today. I am going to show you how I made a bulletin board out of a vintage frame. Here are the supplies that I am using for this project today. I have a lovely gold frame, and I will be putting a piece of melamine behind it. I have my fabric. I have a sponge, some gloves, some ribbon, blue tape, a hammer, a sponge paintbrush, some liquid glazing, some paint. I'm going to use this little solo cup to mix my paint in, paper towels, some batting. I'm using some felt pads to put behind the tacks, and I have a stapler and some staples, and I am going to be painting using sawhorses. So let's get this project rolling. I have laid my frame out on my sawhorses, and now I'm using my solo cup to mix my paint and my glazing liquid. I am using 1 part paint to 2 parts glaze. Then I'm going to stir it up really well. I am rubbing off most of my paint off my brush because I don't want to get too much on. And I'm just rubbing it over my surface. I don't want complete coverage, as I do want some of the gold to show through. It looks pretty just by itself. Just want to add a bit of color here. And then with a wet sponge, I am just going to wipe over the top so that my color is just in the deep creases of my frame. I'm going to continue to do that all the way around the frame. I have my frame painted and wiped off, and as you can see, the blue looks beautiful in with the gold. So I am going to let that dry for a bit, and while that's drying, I'm going to go cut my piece of wood. So my frame has had time to dry. In the meantime, I was able to cut my board to size, and I cut it just shy of the size that it needed for the frame to allow for space for the batting and for my fabric. So I cut my fabric 3 inches longer and 3 inches wider to have enough room to go around the board. I laid my fabric down. Then I will lay the batting down and then lay the board on top. I have everything laid out and it's all smooth. Now I'm going to cut the corners out so that I don't have a lot of bulk when I go to attach it to my board. And now I'm just pulling the fabric and the batting taut to make sure that I don't have any puckers in it, and I will securely tape it with some blue tape. And I will do this on all 4 sides. Now I'm grabbing my ribbon, and I'm going to start by going edge to edge. I'm going to flip it over and tape it, and then I will tape it the opposite direction as well. Now I am putting another piece of ribbon about halfway to the edge, and then a third ribbon. So now that I have the ribbon making a grid on the board, I have tacks, nail heads that I am going to put in the center of each. Being my nail heads are much longer than my board, I also got some small felt rounds that I'm going to put on the back. And I will do that all the way across my board. I have all of my nail heads on the intersection of each of the ribbons, and now I'm going to attach it to my frame. I'm using some small brackets that actually came out of a light kit that I had tucked in a drawer. I put the board inside my frame, and now I'm going to attach it. I'm attaching them with screws on a diagonal so that it will hold the board in tight. And that's it. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please follow me on facebook.com/Peacock Ridge Farm, on Instagram at Peacock Ridge, on Pinterest, and on YouTube.